Service disconnection means, let's say we want to connect it with the any of the ITSM tool like ServiceNow or BMC or any of the ITSM tool. So we will mention that connection in the service disconnection. Okay. Let's say application is disconnected, but while provisioning, while creation of account, we don't want directly to create an account into the ServiceNow, into the target application. We want to create a ticket in the ServiceNow. Then what we will do, we create a connection of ServiceNow in the connections and put that connection in the service disconnection. Okay. Okay, guys. So this is what security system means, right? Then we go to endpoint, open the endpoint. Even I should open this Atlas DB security system. There is one more endpoint I had created earlier. Okay, so we are in now we are into the endpoint. Okay, so this is some other endpoint. This is not Active Directory endpoint. This is one of the application I had integrated with this, and this is the disconnected application. Okay, I told you, remember, this three types of application: disconnected, connected, and hybrid applications, right? So this is the disconnected application. Okay, so in disconnected application, uh, endpoint. Okay, in this endpoint, but we have these two main rules, right? User account correlation rule and account name rule. We can mention the account name rule in the connections as well as in the endpoint also. Okay, anywhere we want. Okay, so it works the same. It means the same and it works the same. Fine. So correlation rule is like what all attributes, like reconciliation mapping. Basically, correlation rule is reconciliation mapping. Here we will mention the target application attributes, and here we will select the Saviynt attributes. Let's say username should match with the name. Okay, so these two are the fields. Whenever name will match with the username of the Saviynt, it will link the account with this username. Okay, so this is the correlation rule in the Saviynt. Okay. Uh, just let me tell, like, do you remember, have we covered dynamic attributes or not, or anything about endpoint or not? Or do you remember dynamic attributes? What's the
No.
use of dynamic? No. Okay, then
No.
we start. Okay. Okay. So dynamic attributes are, there are in connections, whatever parameter, whatever attribute we have passed is, it will directly pass from Saviynt to the target application, right? You agree this point? In connection, whatever attribute we pass, it will directly pass to the target application because it's in the connection, right? So dynamic attribute is the attribute which is not, basically, dynamic means to select at the runtime, right? And static is the static value which is already stored in the system, right? So let me show you, let me explain you like this. Like I told you, identity repository, repository means storage means, right? So whatever we store in the users, any of the user, all these are the static values, right? All these are the static values, like, because these are not changing, these are not selectable. whatever we have stored, this is final, right? Okay, so let me show you. Request access atlas. So this is the request form. Request form means whenever any employee would go to request an application, he would see this form, right? This list of applications. So whenever he go to checkout, he will see the request form, whatever he can select, whatever he can he want to get an access of for this application. Okay, so these are the static values.
Quick question. That's
Yeah.
limited to ones that they would have the capability to get to. I understand they don't have access yet, but it's only ones that maybe in a group or something that they happen to be marketing, and they have that these are uh, accessible for marketing.
No. There is no limitation for this dynamic attributes. Whatever you want to get any information from the user at the runtime, you can create a dynamic attribute for that. Okay. Username we already had, right? We already had in the Saviynt. Whenever we create a user, we must have username, right? You agree? So whenever we create a form, we will not ask for this information we already have.
Okay, I see. I was misunderstanding something.
Okay, so whatever information we already have in the users tab, we will not ask for that information again and again from the user, right? We will directly create any dynamic or means any attribute which will show this information, right? But profile is not static, right? For you, your profile is different. For me, profile is different. For third person, profile is different, right? So we cannot directly select that. We have to ask whoever user is requesting for this application, we have to select, buddy, whatever, which profile you want to select. He said, okay, RO profile I want. Okay, but let's say you are requesting, you said end user profile. So for every user, profile is different, right? So we for these type of attributes, we will create dynamic attribute, right? Okay, for these type of attributes, we'll create dynamic attribute. Yeah. Okay, so you see username, first name, last name, email ID. We have created these also as a dynamic attribute, but we are not asking for these details from user. If you go here, we are not asking for these details. We are populating them, right? So dynamic attributes are useful for population of information as well as asking of information. Whatever information you want to ask from the user at the end time, we can create a dynamic attribute for that. Okay, now let's check out how we create a dynamic attribute. Okay, so this is all information it asks for to create a dynamic attribute. Okay, but we have multiple types of uh, attribute type we can create a dynamic attribute of. So like this, for this we want to populate the information. We have selected, we have given a name, we have given an attribute name. Name is username, but label can be different. Label is whatever we want to display over the form, right? So let's say we are giving it a like this username because it is more readable, right? So label is display name, but attribute name is a name which will get stored in the database, and it cannot be duplicate, right? We cannot create two dynamic attributes with the same name, right? Whereas label can be same, label can be duplicate. Okay, getting? this is a this is a unique name. This is a unique name gets stored in the database. This cannot be duplicate for the same application, whereas label can be duplicate. Okay. Request type is like here we are requesting a account. Okay, so here we will select account. So request type is for for what thing you are creating a dynamic attribute, right? We are creating it for the account. Let's say we are creating a role. We are creating a form of a role. So there we will select role, because in Saviynt we can create a role also, right? We can request for a role also. We can create also, and over the ARS we can request for the role also. So for role, for entitlement owner, for proposed entitlement, for anything we can create a form, right? But right now we are discussing about account. Okay, so we are requesting for account. That's why we have selected request type as account. Okay. Attribute group means, let me show here directly. Okay, group means uh, you can see user details. By user details you can understand like username, first name, last name, email ID should be in a group, should looks like together, like adjacent to each other. It should not be like username is here and first name is here and last name is here. It should not look like this, right? So to group all the things together one by uh, like adjacent to each other, we create a group. Okay, we have created a group of we have created a group by the name user details, right? And that's why username, first name, last name, email ID are showing in a group. Okay, order index. Order index means like what should be the index to show over the form. It is 0. It starts from 0. If we select 4 or 2 or 3, the username will not show you here. It will show you on the index of 0, 1, 2, 3. Means if you mention 3, it will show you here. So in order index is basically where you want to put that attribute over the form. Okay. Now attribute type. Attribute type is the main thing in the dynamic attribute. We have multiple types, right? If you want to get a number information, like let's say you want to get mobile number, then you will definitely not put string, right? You will like select always number, right? Mobile number is always in the integer form, right? So like that, if you want to select boolean means true false, right? So these are the types of the dynamic attribute you can like select, and what type of information you ask for the from the user, that type of attribute we can create, right? Okay, so first is number, second is boolean. String is like any string. We basically rarely use this because string is like any like uh, user can user can enter abcd also, right? So mostly we use select option, like multiple select from the list, multiple select from the SQL query, single select from the SQL query. Okay, these options. So let me explain you these things. Enum. Enum is, let's say, okay, let me cancel this and create a new one. Let's say days.
I have a question for you. When you say the reason why you choose account, it is because account can inherit the attribute days. Is that why you choose account?
Account can
Inherit, like can be a property of.
no.
Like if
We
I
have
had chose.
selected we have selected account because we are requesting for an account, right?
Okay.
And whatever information we are requesting from that user, let's say you are requesting for this Atlas DB application, right?
Okay.
So you are whatever information you select, you want that information over your account also, right? That's why you are
Okay.
requesting for this information. So whatever you are requesting, it should show, and it should store over your account also, right?
Okay.
So that's why we have selected account. and
Okay.
and later on we will understand where we, like, this is the account column name. Account column basically means in account where you want to store this detail.
Okay.
Okay, like let's say we are asking you for the days, right? Let's day and label as days, right?
So what that would mean exactly? How many days the user the account
This is just for the
valid?
example. This is just for
Okay.
the example I am showing you
Okay.
to explain you the enum functionality. Enum.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
So let it group can be anything. Let's select 7 or let's select 1. Okay. Enum. Enum basically is nothing but a array of values. Array of
Mm-hmm.
known values, I would say. Okay. So days, we know there are 7 days only in a week, right? So we can write Monday is comma separated. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, and like this, and go on, right? So we know number of days. So that's why I said number of means enum is the array of values, array of known values, right?
But you had put this value though, right?
But you have to, but
Can this
yeah,
value
but we have to
be
write,
dynamic,
but
like when you generate them?
no, we have to write them into this value column. Okay, we
Okay.
cannot generate that part. That's why it is a enum. Okay,
Okay.
so default value, like it will show you in the drop down value. It will show you in the drop down manner. So what should be the
Okay.
default value you want to get it selected automatically? Let's say
All right.
we like this, and we want select should be the default value, right? And account column. Now, this is the main point. Account column is the name of the column, name of the attribute, and name of the column where you want to store this value on your account, right? Not in Saviynt, but in the target application. Okay, where you want to store this information on the target uh, system. So let's say I want to store this information in the, let's say in AD or in Atlas DB, there is an attribute by the name days. Let's assume. So that's why we have mentioned days, right? Or let's say, and there is a attribute ABCD. So we have mentioned ABCD. But the concept is this is the name of the attribute where you want to store this required information over your account. Okay, this is very important, right? These are the attributes like on the request basis, on the required basis. If you want to make it required, required means mandatory. If you want to make it editable or not, like in this case, I have not made it editable. So user cannot edit this. We are populating this information just, right? Because we had this information. We already have this information. So we are just populating this information. We are not requesting them, right? So let's make it editable. Let's there can be requirement like we want to hide the attribute while we are requesting for our account, but we want to show the attribute while we are updating the account, and vice versa. Like let's say we want to hide hide all these attributes when we are updating the account, but we want to show these attributes when we are creating the account, right? So we will click on hide on update or hide on create on the request, on our request basis, right? Show on child. Show on child means you must have seen there is a dependency in the dynamic, like dependency on the two two attributes. Like we are selecting India as a country, then it will show only Indian states, only Indian cities, right? So this is why this is like this, because they have created dependency on on each other, right? So to create a dependency, we we click on show on child or show or hide on child like this, right? Okay, if we click on show on child, then we have to mention the parent attribute name also. Like we should have mentioned the parent also, right? Then only the system will get to know who is the child and who is the parent, right? So that's why. Okay, what action you want when parent attribute changes? There are few of the keywords we usually follows. Like there can be the refresh option in there. Okay. Uh, there can be like let's say in this form you can see whenever I am changing the profile, it is refreshing the page. Are you seeing? It is refreshing. It is reloading the page, right? This is why this is happening, because I have mentioned refresh in this what do we say, in this dynamic attribute. Okay, that's why it is refreshing the page, reloading the page. So let's save this, and when we refresh this page, reload this page, it will show you days attribute also. It is showing you days, right? So it is showing you select. Oh, select is by default, I think. Yeah, I remember. Select is by default. So we need not to mention the select. Okay. So yeah, select is by default, and you can select Monday, Tuesday, and you can see we are able to select only one value, right? Because it is a drop down, and we are able to select only one value, right? But there can be other options also, like other option is multi-select from the list. when we select multi-select from the list, we will be able to select multiple values, which is logical, right? Like if you refresh, now we are able to select multiple values. Okay, getting my point? This is simple, right? You must be clear with these points. Yeah, these are for the known values, right? But let's say you have thousands of values, then thousand of values you cannot write in one attribute, right? So what we do is single select or multiple select from SQL query. Let me explain you single select option. Let's say there are thousands of entitlements in a system and you want some value on the request page. So what you will do, you will write a select query like you will write a select query for this, right? So let's say I think I have others. Like in this case we have created, we want username to be populated, right? So what query we have mentioned? Select first name as ID from users. User is the table name where we store the users, list of users. So we are discussing about the single select option. Select first name as ID from user. Miss, this is a simple SQL query, right? This is a simple SQL query. So where first name should be dollar. This is a dynamic value. Dollar user dot first name. Whoever user is requesting for this account, it will select that username and show you over the form. It is showing me over the form, right? I am the admin, so it is showing me admin user, right? Okay, let me up. If we will update this first name, last name, if we'll update this user, then here it will show our first name and last name also, right? First name also admin and last name also admin. Okay, why? It is picking from the user's form, right? Whatever we have stored on in the user's form, it is picking from that part because we have written a SQL query. Okay, and if we want to make it a drop down, because if there are multiple values, so let's make it like this. Select first name as ID from users. Okay, so there are thousands of users, it will select from that list. Let's try, but I won't think it will work because there are so many users. Let's try this. Single select from SQL query and this. Right? Yes. Okay. So it is showing all the usernames which are present in the system. And these are single select. Okay. Are you following? Okay. So this is dynamic attribute is the main part in the endpoint. Why? Because using this dynamic attribute tab, we design our account form. Whenever you get an application to integrate with the Saviynt, this is the part you need to think yourself. how the account form should be, what all information we require from the user, what information we need to populate to user so that user should not be confused and he should have all the information, right? So this is the part you need to think yourself, right, while integrating an application, because application owner will give you an application to integrate, right? He will say, I need this information. So this is your responsibility, how you create that dynamic attribute. You are creating this as a enum, you are creating it as a single select, or you are creating it as a string. So this is up to you.